I am. Did we really let Team in again?
He holds the record for the most Microtalks at the postmortem. I actually didn't do anything to convince him to give up that title.
It's a streak.
And you're apparently just going to talk.
Yeah, so my first Microtalk I had slides, my second one I had some slides, and now my third I don't have any.
It's the great.
Yeah, it's just going downhill.
Yeah, negative slides.
Next time I'm just going to cry and hold myself for 5 minutes as you guys watch. Oh yes, I'm Tim Keenan. I made a virus named Tom. I make PC games and maybe console games and hell, maybe iPad games, I don't know. But what I wanted to talk to you about today is something that I'm realizing lately, which is not to carve yourself out of what you do, right? I don't know, so I'm a control freak when it comes to my games and stuff like that. How many people here consider themselves control freaks when it comes to their games, right? Alright, so everybody else, this might not be for you, but for everyone that's a control freak, I think what happens is that I like to think of it as like the producer and the director inside of my brain, right? And so the producer is my control freak, and my producer is always telling me to do things that are, you know, scientifically correct, and it may not lead to like a 12-year project and stuff like that. So I appreciate my producer. I need that guy. But I think what happens is that we let that guy take over too much of our project, and then that carves out what we are out of that project. And I think when you do that as an indie, you're really shooting yourself in the foot. Because as a AAA studio, like you can have, they have all these things that they can beat us at. But when you're talking about your individual expressing yourself, you're in such control of your game. There's such a smaller team. It might be one person, right? So you're what makes that game awesome. And I'd like to give a couple examples of that recently that have happened. It's not just in game design, right? The first one I'll give is that making weekly videos. So when you make weekly videos and stuff like that, there's this guy in your head that's like, make sure that this is relevant, make sure that this is funny, or make sure that this is snappy, or whatever it is. And I was doing that. And then like the other week, I just kind of got tired because I was making a video a week. And I made a video with puppets about me bitching about developing PC games. And that has more views than any of my other videos other than my trailer. So it just kind of shows what that was, is that was me coming through. And people like that. Some people may not like that, but you know that resonates, I think, better with people, right? Another example is GDC. I went to my last GDC, or 2 years ago, and I was like setting up all these meetings, and I was worried about everything, and that stress and all that stuff makes you not come across as yourself. And you don't do what you normally do, and then you just come across as a schmuck. So instead this year, I drank a lot, way too much, which is, that's who I am, right? And so then I woke up the next day, didn't get to GDC till like noon, and I forgot my badge, right? And what happened is that I texted a bunch of other indie friends, and I was like, does anybody want to play my paper prototype? And they were totally down, and I got feedback on my paper prototype from all these great game developers from all across the country, all across the world really, instead of watching a talk that I can catch on the ball. Not that I say don't go to talks, because you can mingle with people and they're great, but that's just how it worked out for me. And I mean, it's not always going to work out this way, but sometimes I think it does. Another example, I'm just rambling, so I have no idea how much time I have.
I don't know, like another
Okay.
two examples.
Okay. So another example is in game design right now, right? Like I'm doing a lot of prototypes, and I'm kind of being a brat. I'm kind of doing some things, and there's like the way to go, and I can see that way, and I'm like, this way will work, but I don't want it, and so I'm going this way. And I think that the producer in my brain is like, that way is unknown. Then you're taking an action game with a single mechanic and you're adding in this crazy story that branches and stuff like that. I don't know if that's a good idea, right? Or you're making a game with 10 drones, and instead of being able to control them all from a top-down view like every RTS does, you individually switch between them to move them. That's not a good idea, right? And I'm telling that guy to fuck off. And I think that's a really good thing, because I'm prototyping, and I might be wrong, right? And that's okay, because if I'm wrong, then I'll just go back to that course. But if I'm right in being the brat that I am, then that's going to be me in that game, right? That's going to be that action game with that singular mechanic that has this crazy, weird branching story, and maybe that's why people will like it, because that's what Tim Keenan would do. And so you're each beautiful snowflakes. You're all wonderful, unique butterflies. And what I'm saying is it doesn't seem like it all the time, but I think it's because sometimes we just let that producer just pounce on us too much. So let go a little bit. Like give like 20% to that director guy and just let him be a nut. And I mean, maybe it won't work out, but you know, the worst that could happen is that you feel really good because you did something that you like to do.